that feeling. Want to take the journey with me. We'll turn this floor up into the ceiling. Oh, don't let it go to waste. Can you feel it in your face? I don't need to know you. Yeah, come through with your best self. Now I'm no doctor, but I got this product. I know it's good for your health. I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
No, I got to have you. Said I know. Let me stop that. Welcome to the Help Myself podcast. Listen, I am your host, John M. Singletary Sr. You hear my co-pilot in the background. I got to put that senior on there because I got my junior, aka LJ. That is not only my co-pilot in this podcasting game, but in this amazing adventure that we call life. That's right, buddy. And listen, I didn't even want to come before you too long tonight. I know last week I was like, hey, we back. And we are. Because 2 weeks in a row, here I am. So Jimmy cracks corn and I don't care. You hear me? But no, to say that in a more serious fashion, it's not that I don't care. It's that I am going to celebrate my victories, and I take it as a victory for me to have shown up this often. 2 weeks. So we're gonna keep building on that momentum. And today, look, welcome back to another episode of the Help Myself podcast. We want to continue to help you to push past your limitations and to help all of us to our own personal greatness. There's greatness in all of us. And I want to make sure that I'm stepping into this space to encourage you to be the absolute best version of yourself. And so as your host, today I want to dive into a heavy one. Been seeing some things going on in these internet streets, and I wanted to talk about it. But right now I want to talk about co-opting success. So I want to drop this on you. Stop co-signing someone else's shine. Go get your own success. Stop borrowing other folks' brilliance. Be bold enough to be brilliant and shine on your own. You've got it. And I know, I understand. Sometimes it feels like it would just be easier to co-opt somebody else's shine. I get it. But it's always better to do your own thing. I promise you, if you do your own thing, you will definitely be pleased with being able to build your something according to your own passions, something that is according to who you are as a person. So, you know what, to define it in plain terms, what is co-opting success? It's using somebody else's name, somebody else's popularity, using their platform, their narrative, or using their actual material for you to gain attention or to gain traction in what you're doing. And I want to be clear about this. I want to delineate between utilizing somebody else's, maybe not say utilizing, but let's put it this way, that you're working in tandem with somebody else with the agreement that I will expose you to my audience and you will expose me to yours, or we'll do something that's mutually beneficial. What I'm talking about is somebody who, maybe has to give you permission. Maybe they're not aware of you, but however it is, you use their name, their platform, their creativity, what they're doing to boost your own name. And I mean that more so like, let's say I came on here. One of the big things to do to get your videos to get churned is to put a heavy current event. So like people go on YouTube and say things like, oh, Kendrick Lamar is dropping a new uh video. Let's talk about it. And then, you get to the actual video because YouTube's at Kendrick Lamar. You got searches for Kendrick Lamar. You click on there, and it's people that don't know nothing about Kendrick Lamar, but they just kind of use that. I think we all did it a little bit. Like, I think when I was on the They Jamming podcast, a couple of times we co-opted They Not Like Us or other things just to kind of get clickbait. But to go so far as to use someone's content or to use somebody's what they've created, we've seen all kind of harmful, horrible examples of this. There was one I saw myself that I was not pleased by, but I think about how Hope Giselle, somebody came in, a creator, and took her words, word for word, and then monetized it. And then when it was reported, tried to say I was trying to bring more attention to your message, when Hope Giselle had a considerably larger following. So no, she was just stealing her words, thinking that she could get away with it. And that's disingenuous. And I want to encourage you not to do that. Not because I don't want you to be successful, not because I do not want you to get monetized, all the things that come with getting that boost in awareness of what you're doing. But I want you to be consistent in creating and crafting your own message and lane of success, something that you can believe in, something that's authentic in you. Because one of the things about having true success in any arena is how authentic you are to yourself. And I've learned that some of the greatest successes that I've had that came at the cost of my authenticity were not even worth having. And so I would never want my platform, my success to be built upon, you know what, there's somebody out there, I don't like them, so I'm going to spend all of my time talking about how I don't like them and then become known as the guy that doesn't like this person. I want to be known as John Singletary. I want the Help Myself podcast to be known. I want the Help Myself collective to be known for what I'm passionate about, for positivity, for encouragement, for empowerment. And I give that up when I start to base my persona and what I'm doing based on somebody else's process so that I can use that boost from their creativity, And why does this happen? Look, we all want, it's tough grinding here, and you're seeing people doing things that are, well, let's not even talk about what they're doing. You're seeing other people who you feel like you bring something similar to the table as far as talent or inspiration or creativity, whatever your metric might be. And you see them having great success, and you see yourself putting in the same work and not having the same success. One, let's not discount what a person's been through and how they work. And we understand that most, what do you call it when somebody is, a brand new success? Most of them, we know that they've been putting in work for over 10 years for them to become an overnight success usually takes over 10 years. So, but why does this happen? I think sometimes we fear being obscure. We fear the obscurity of just grinding in the dark, being unnoticed. And we start to put arbitrary timelines on what success looks like. And I'll tell you this, I'll add this right there. When you can't personally define success for yourself, or if your metric for success is created based on a standard outside of yourself, a lot of times you will find yourself chasing that and creating these deadlines that don't really exist because your definition of success isn't concrete. If I could take it down to the fact that I do have a podcast, I have a channel, I have people that check in, people that come back and talk to me. Do I have hundreds or thousands of followers every episode? Absolutely not. I do have a few episodes that have been unique downloads and in the hundreds. I've had some social media stuff hit thousands of views, 10,000s, 100,000 views. I've had some things like that, but when I really sat down and wanted to have a true metric of success, It's a message that is clear enough to impact someone to want to take that thing that they're passionate about and that they have skills at and do it better. And so defining that, then I wanted to be able to package this so that it had more of a laser focus so that I could get to the people that resonate with the message that I have to share. And when I was able to kind of parse it down to what success was for me, that fear of obscurity began to dissipate and move away. But also a lot of times we want a desire for credibility without the grind. You can't have the credibility without the grind. If you don't grind, you don't shine. And I'm not going to talk against myself, but one of the things that I've been thinking about, it was a bar that I heard on Lil Brother's last album. Well-oiled machines don't grind. So I'm gonna work with that a little bit because that is genius level. Shout out to Lil Brother. But a lot of us desire credibility without the grind. Sometimes we get impatient with the process of organic growth. And we worry about the exterior change when we don't realize that organic growth is also changing us on the inside. It's not just what we see on the outside. Sometimes we're worried about platforms and progress and how many followers and listeners and downloads. And a lot of times that organic growth is making us better at our craft. I think about when I first started podcasting, and I think about when I produce and the things that I do, I realize that I have a mind to be able to plan and plot these things out. And also I am really good at being able to create flow in a conversation, and I'm really good and I'm getting better at interviews. I want to continue to get better. And so maybe the growth wasn't necessarily how the platform is viewed, but my ability to be able to move within the platform that I'm building so that when the attention comes, I will have gotten to a level. LJ is agreeing with me. I'm talking good, ain't I, buddy? I will have gotten to a point where I can handle the extra attention, the extra attention so that I can continue to produce content that reaches with the same impact. You know, we live in a culture that worships virality. But listen, going viral ain't the same as going valuable. You heard me? Going viral is not the same as going valuable. So if your whole strategy is, let me drop this popular name in the mix, you've already told the world that you don't believe your voice is enough. I don't think I can say that more. You know, if you have to anchor it with somebody else and how you perceive their greatness, you don't believe enough in your own greatness. And I want to encourage you to believe in your own greatness. You never know what person, people, group, collective is out there waiting to hear your voice. But here it is. It's also dangerous and lazy because it diminishes originality. It distracts from what your actual authentic message is. So, you know, you got to make sure that you're taking time to be yourself. You know, you got to make sure that you're taking time to give a message that's authentic to you, because that becomes something that you can reproduce. Two things that I really recognize that people say is important when, and in any endeavor, especially content, but podcasting, that you've got to show up consistently. Shame on me, because there have been times when I haven't shown up with that consistency, but we back. 2 times for the Help Myself podcast. So not only that, but also being able to carry your message without having to have guests on. Now, obviously, some podcasts are built specifically around having guests. And when you've got resources and you've got people that can go and get talent, and you've got a Rolodex full of people that are willing to come on your show, and you got producers and all of that, that's great. But sometimes when you're starting off, you don't have access to that, and you find yourself all over the place trying to find guests, trying to find this, find that. And it's important to take the time to really crystallize and clarify your voice, your topic, and what you want to talk about. So sometimes you have to work on those things. And you know, it's dangerous and lazy because sometimes when you use somebody else's platform or their fame, it can come off as manipulative or inauthentic. And when your audience finds out, it erodes trust. And so I want to encourage you to not only be authentic, but work against that thing inside of you that wants to take the shortcuts. I think all of us would love to have our lives changed in so many concrete ways by being able to step into something we're passionate about. I think that we're coming into a time where people are passionate about having a voice, where we talk about things that matter and we talk about how we want to live as a society and as a people. And I think we would love to be able to afford to say it how we want to say it, as often as we want to say it, to be able to be in a space where we're able to create a life for ourselves off of our talent, our passions, and our creativity. But if you're going to get to this point, you can't be lazy. It's too dangerous. A lot of times we feel like something ain't right if your brand ain't borrowed, or if your brand is borrowed. You know what I'm saying? Like if your brand is built on borrowed light, it's not going to take long for the lights to go out. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you borrowing your light, eventually you're not paying that bill, so you have no control of when that light goes out. So I would just say continue to be authentic. But, you know, before I close, I want to talk to you about how powerful authenticity is. You know, you really, really got, I'll tell you a quick story and I'll kind of synopsize it. But, you know, when I went into senior leadership, you know, got promoted to Chief Master Sergeant, the highest enlisted rank in the Air Force. For a long time, I didn't realize that I didn't think or believe that I would get there, you know, because I decided I wanted to be authentic. I decided I wanted to be a type of leader. I decided I wanted to show up a way, and I knew that would cost me. And I knew that there were people that didn't appreciate where I was coming from with that message or how I, went forth about it. And I understood it. That's cool. But there was someone I wanted to be. There was a way I wanted to show up. And turns out that being my authentic self not only put me in the position that I ended up being in, but it allowed my teammates to shine brighter, because as a leader, as my authentic self, I was authentic enough to know where I needed to step in and where I needed to step back. And how that translates to you is there's going to come a time when there isn't a playbook on how to go forward. And if you have not created and crafted an authentic voice, then once the playbook is out, you don't have anything else to give. But when you've taken the time to craft your authentic voice, then you've built your playbook and you can move forward past it. You know, I don't want to, I was going to make a Game of Thrones reference, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go because that would have been me doing what I just told y'all I don't want y'all to do. But you got to take time to trust the power of your voice, trust the power of your purpose, trust the power of your lane. Lane maintenance is so important. You got to stay in your lane. And listen, if you're new to the content game, the podcast game, the entrepreneur game, the leadership game, I want to encourage you to stay committed to it. I want you to prepare yourself for the losses because the wins will come. There will be wins, but you got to be willing to take those losses. Listen, I know it's hard. I know you're putting in the work. I know sometimes the numbers ain't numbering, the math ain't mathing, but you're not building just reviews. You're building for impact. And if it takes longer, that just means it's more real. Don't shortcut your legacy. Don't shortcut your potential. Don't shortcut your promise by trying to ride somebody else's wave. In closing, I just want you to know really quickly, your story matters. Your voice is needed. And you don't have to use someone else's shine. You know why? Because you're the light. You are the light. And so, you know, as I come thankful for another opportunity to come before you and talk about, you know, doing the things that are important. I want to leave you with this. Listen, I can't help myself. Got to inspire, I've got to encourage, I've got to empower, but I can't help myself by being the absolute best version of myself. And guess what? You can too. So why not we do it together?